everybody, how you doing? It's your girl Cece Peniston, and this is my story from my mouth.
How old are you? Where are you from originally, and where do you currently reside?
Now, Choke, you know a woman never tells her age. But I did come out in the 90s, if that's any help. I was originally from Dayton, Ohio, currently living in Arizona.
Okay. How would you say was your upbringing? Poor, middle class, or rich?
Middle class, but in my mind, I thought we were rich. You know, as a kid, you don't know the difference, but now that I'm older, I understand middle class.
Okay. Did you grow up in a single or co-parenting home?
Co-parenting home.
Okay. What did you think you would be as a kid?
You know, it's funny. I know people probably think this is crazy, but I always knew that I would sing. From the 11 years old, I kept telling my brothers and sisters, hey, I'm gonna be a singer one day. I remember when I first stepped on stage and I did my first play, and I was like, oh, this feels like home to me. So for me, I always knew I would be singing. I always got my education though. I went to JUCO actually. I went to junior college because my grandmother was really into education. So she was like, baby, just always get your diploma because you never know what may happen. But in the back of my mind, I was like, I'm gonna be singing.
So how far did you get in your education?
I graduated with an AA degree. And then right after that, probably like 19, 20, I started getting in the studio and I got my deal soon after that. And I was traveling the world.
Okay. At what age do you feel you became an adult?
You know, I feel like transition for me really started happening probably around, I don't know why, but 36 stands out in my mind. I've been through a lot of different changes in my life, and I felt like when I came in the music industry at 21, I was really naive and innocent. And you know, I come from Arizona. We went to Magic Mountain or to Disneyland or something like that, but it wasn't the same as the music industry. So I would say because of experiences and things that I went through at different parts of my life, 36. I feel like my early struggles as an artist were people kept trying to change me from being a homegirl, from being just a regular girl, and me wanting to sing to like, you gotta be this diva with the lashes and lipstick and all the extra stuff. And when I came from Arizona, I didn't know nothing about that. Like at the time, we used to, you know that little black eyebrow pencil? I used to use the little black eyebrow pencil, fill in my eyebrows, do a little liner and a little lipstick. That was it. I never knew anything about putting extra eyelashes or anything on. So probably changing the girl into the diva who I've become today and understand about the music industry.
Did you have anyone close to you that doubted your dream?
You know what? I was so headstrong, I didn't give a damn if anybody doubted my dream at the time, because I was like, I don't care what you say, this is what I'm doing. And like anybody around me knew it. Like if they did and they came to me, I can't remember because I was just so headstrong about what I was going to do in the world.
Okay. Who was your biggest supporter?
My mother was like my ride or die at the time. She was my biggest supporter because when I told her, I was like, hey, I want to sing, she was like, okay, are you sure? I was like, yeah. She was like, okay. I started doing pageant. I started doing like, you know, little karaoke contests where you win in $300 for your school clothes that you lay out the night before. I was that kid, like, oh, I got some piggy bank money, you know? Right. So I would say her.
Okay. What about as far as in business? Who was your biggest supporter?
Actually, my mom and my fam, to me, was my biggest supporters in business because they never stifled my dream. And actually, my mother actually became my manager at a later point in my life when I had felt like, hey, I'm not sure if I want to even do this right now. She was like, I don't have many moments like that, but when I did have that moment, she was like, I'm gonna step in, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm gonna learn it and I'll be your manager. You know, I would say one of the highlights of my journey was being able to make history. Being able to go to South Africa after apartheid and being one of the first, Black African American women to go over to apartheid even before Whitney, and it's documented in history was such a blessing to me. I remember standing on the stage and I was like, they were like, finally, and I was sitting there like, oh man, they know it here. And I felt blessed and I felt grateful in that moment. So because I had known the struggle, it was like it had two meanings for me.
Right.
So it would be like that was one of the special moments.
What about the one you mentioned earlier about the charts?
Oh, that was another one. See, but you know what's funny? Okay, so now that I've been in the music business as long as I have, I understand that being on a Billboard, going platinum and selling records is so different now than it used to be. When finally it hit the first time around. So I didn't understand how hard it was to really be on the charts. So when I saw that it finally was on the charts for 33 out of 52 weeks, I understand the amazement of what that is in this moment, even more than then, because when they told me, I was like, I made #1. They were like, oh, you just don't understand. So now I understand what that means.
What would you say was the worst part of your journey?
The worst part of my journey was trying to live up to other people's standards of who they thought I should be. And it continues to be that way. You're doing too much. You're saying too much. We need you to lose weight. We need you to gain weight. We need your hair this color. We need this, we need that. We need your voice to sound like this. It's always a need to instead of like a suggestion, like you're not a human being or person. I think that's where people sometimes get lost. Instead of saying, hey, I got a suggestion for you. Have you ever thought about? It's always like, you know what, you need to blah, blah, blah. And they don't understand you get a couple of need tos 20 times a day.
Right.
But I think it's also you setting the boundary and letting other people know what your needs are. And that comes with maturity.
Without naming names, what was your best intimate relationship?
My second husband. We were together for a long time, and anybody can look it up, so it's no big deal. We were together for a long time. He was a good man. He was a Taurus man too. Good man.
What would you say was your best relationship in business?
Wow. I'm gonna be honest. I would have to say that one of my best relationships in business would be, and he's my bestie, but his name is Byron Garrett. He's my friend, he's a mentor. He is like a business partner with me. When me and my brother's my manager. When me and my brother, and I say that to say this, my brother stepped in as my manager. He didn't truly know the music industry. After my mom had passed, my mother said, take care of your sister. So he just stepped in position to take care of my business affairs, but Byron was always there. So if I had to say business relationship would be Byron.
What was your worst relationship, personal?
You
don't have to name names.
It was some managers I had. I just didn't feel like they would get me. It was always an order or, well, you better. It was like they would talk about me when I wasn't there, and I used to agitate. I used to piss me off. And they knew it too. And so it was just like, I don't know, I felt like after a certain point of time that some of the managers I had, or that management, start to treat you like a number instead of a person. So.
Got it. Mm-hmm. Overall, what have you learned about relationships?
It's not what you know, it's who you know in the music industry, plain and simple. There is no in between. It's definitely black and white. And if people mess with you, they mess with you. And if they don't, they don't. And if you really want to be in the industry, don't get on the bad side. Period. I don't like to live on regret, so no matter what, I wouldn't change anything.
There's someone somewhere right now that just starting their journey as a singer, and they just merging on the highway, and you 50,000 miles ahead of them, and you saw a whole bunch of potholes in this road. What potholes would you tell them to look out for?
Greedy people, misinformation, not having your own voice. Be authentically you. Make sure you stay authentic to you. Understanding that sometimes you have to take the emotion out of the artistry. And I mean that as your personal feelings can get in the way sometimes. You have to realize that sometimes you're here to make someone's bad day a beautiful day, even though yours was horrible.
What is your focus today in life and in business?
To be a great businesswoman, to make sure that the relationships that I have from this point forward are lasting relationships and relationships of respect, to make sure that whatever bodies of work that I put out, that people feel it in their soul and in their chest. Make sure I'm putting out the right bodies of work. Making sure that I'm always growing and changing. And really being authentic, because I've been in the business now since the 90s. And making sure that when it's time to stop, that I don't keep going. That everybody has their period in their season. And that just to always love it. Always love the music. Because sometimes what happens off stage makes you hate what happens on. And that's what keeps you going. That's what keeps me going.
Right. Okay.
Hey y'all, I'm Cece Peniston, and we all have a story to tell and a lesson to learn. And this is my story.